from the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
All right, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. We're excited to break down day 4 of Broncos training camp with you today. And the headline has to be, unquestionably, Teddy Bridgewater throwing 3 interceptions today. McTelvin Agim on a batted pass at the line came down with 1. Kareem Jackson jumped the route from Jerry Jeudy with the very next play. And then when they got down to red zone, it was the 2 combining for an interception. Agim tipping it at the line, Kareem Jackson coming up with the tip ball. And I tell you what, it was we knew the turnovers were going to eventually happen. This is too good of a defense not to have turnovers. And, I mean, I guess on the positive side you have that. But, again, on the other side of it, Teddy Bridgewater looked a little frazzled after those turnovers.
Yeah, a little quicksand, like he was pressing, trying to make stuff happen. It got worse. The first interception, the tip from McTelvin Agim, it was a pick 6, but it was just a great play by McTelvin. Just a great play. The second one right after that, he kind of lollipopped one to Jeudy. I think it was a slant, maybe a deep end. I'm trying to remember. And
I wrote it as a comeback, but same kind of thing.
It didn't have enough steam on it. The ball just didn't. And Kareem saw it the whole way and easily broke on it for a pick 6. And then the red zone one was just McTelvin getting his hands up again, another great play. And Kareem made a great play on it. It would have been a touchback. So, it were good plays by the defense, but they were also preventable plays. Teddy Bridgewater's you can't get passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. Drew has a lower arm socket in terms of where he throws the ball sometimes, and he's not getting them batted like that. That's a problem for me. If you're Teddy Bridgewater, if you're the safe guy, you've got to be making those, because if you're doing the dink and dunk thing, the margins are too small for you to have throwaways or batted balls, things like that. So it'll be interesting to see if Teddy's able to bounce back from this. I hope he can, and kind of go from there.
Simultaneously, it wasn't just the interceptions today for Teddy Bridgewater. He had a red zone period where he threw 3 straight passes out of the back of the end zone, not giving his receivers a chance. Now, yes, you got the 3 points, but again, depending on the competition level you're playing, you might need the 7 there. You might at least give your receivers a chance. He also missed Jerry Jeudy on a wide open down the right sideline touchdown opportunity earlier in practice. It was just an overall kind of off day for him. And it sort of started out, interestingly enough, for both guys. Drew Lock had an overthrow on his very first pass, and you're kind of like, oh, boy, here we go. Drew Lock a couple of days ago had several of those. And of course, simultaneously, you had Teddy Bridgewater, who was just hitting all the underneath stuff and being consistent. So it just sort of felt like, okay, this is Groundhog Day with our quarterbacking. But it changed because Drew Lock hit Cortland Sutton down the left sideline for 40 yards. It was a thing of beauty.
Bucket, yeah.
And then Kendall Hinton on a post route just threaded it to him for 25 yards. So Drew Lock today, he could have by default won the day, but he did it with actually trying to still push the ball down the field. And he also took some underneath stuff, some nice check downs to the running backs.
And put one in the dirt that he didn't have a play on.
Yes.
Put one in the dirt near the sideline on purpose. Just kind of threw it away. And I was like, there we go. You're not trying to squeeze one in. Just live to fight another day. And they did, because Javonte had a great play on the next one. He swung it out to Javonte in the flat. He broke it off for, what did you say, 18 yards?
18 yards, yeah.
Notebook. And it was, you're seeing a little bit of maturation from Drew. I need to see it continue. We can't call it maturation after 2 days. I need to see what he's built over the last 2 days continue for the next week or two, and you might have something here. You might finally have something here. So, Drew and Teddy are going to have bad days. Drew had a bad day a few days ago. Teddy had a brutally bad day today. It's how they bounce back from that. It's how you come back from that, and how you and what you're able to do after that. And hopefully Teddy Bridgewater will continue to try to be aggressive and not just the underneath stuff. And hopefully Drew will rein it in when he needs to, and not live by, die by with the gunslinger mentality, and have discretion. If those 2 guys met in the middle, you'd have a heck of a quarterback.
You definitely would. Meanwhile, as is always the case with training camp, it is about both sides of the ball, because McTelvin Agim has had a sensational training camp so far.
Yeah, he really has. Even without the great day today, you would put him as a training camp star thus far, and he's just really been everything they hoped he would be when they drafted him. And he was a guy, we talked about that when they drafted him. He's probably not a huge contributor year 1. He got a lot more reps last year because of the injuries, but he's a guy you want to see year 2, and that's what he's doing. You look at Draymond Jones, a guy who's year 2, he started to really break out last year. We expect a big season out of him year 3. So, the Broncos are deeper, I think, than people nationally recognize. Everybody's laughing at the quarterback situation because it is what it is until they prove that it isn't. But Everywhere else, it's pretty deep. It looks pretty good.
But isn't this exactly what you wanted to see from the Broncos? You want to see that defensive line, who, by the way, a couple days ago when we talked about Drew Lock's struggles, they had their best day. But today would be right up there because you want to see that pressure causing problems and opportunities in the back end.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a huge part of it. As the defensive line has excelled, the quarterbacks have struggled. Today was the first day where the defensive line played really well, and one of the quarterbacks also did well. Because I don't think Teddy particularly did well in the day that Drew was so bad. It was just Drew was so bad. I think that having a defense play well and then having one of the quarterbacks play well against it is an encouraging sign.
Absolutely. Kareem Jackson had, of course, the two interceptions today. He had his biggest day of camp so far. As far as other defensive players and something to note here, Josie Jewell had a groin injury. Justin Sternad got opportunity to run with the ones, and I thought he looked really good.
Yeah, he did. He looked pretty good. Josie didn't seem too bothered by the groin injury. I mean, he walked off on his own.
Yeah.
So it was fine. Sternad did look pretty good in there. It's clear he's the third inside backer with Baron Browning sideline, I believe, for another week or two. That he's got an opportunity to make the most of it right now. This is where you win a job. This is where you Wally Pip somebody. And so, if you're Sternad, you need to be out there putting that great tape down. He for his first practice, out there taking it with the kind of the ones, that was pretty good.
But he was doing the same thing last year during training camp. Remember, he was a third stringer. He moved up to second team, and we started to see him with the first team right before he got hurt. He was already kind of on his way to Wally Pip, whether it was Josie Jewell or even just to earn some snaps more than just special teams. He was going to make the roster,
right,
but it was more about, can he do more than just be a special teamer? And now he looks like he could be a little bit of both for this team. And honestly, that could be fantastic news, because we keep wondering, okay, you got two inside linebackers on one-year deals. You're starting two guys on their final year of their contract. What's the future of that position? And Sternad could be one of the answers.
He might, yeah. He might make Alexander Johnson expendable if he comes in and plays well. He just keeps hanging skins on the wall, and that's kind of one of those things you got to do. If you're a guy who's a third teamer, drafted late, that kind of stuff, you just got to keep coming in and hanging skins on the wall, and eventually somebody's going to look up and say, this dude's been solid every time. He's killed it at every level we put it at. We got to keep him around, and then you break in the lineup, and the next thing you know, you're starting, and you go from there. Look at Alexander Johnson.
He's a perfect example. Going back to the offense, I want to give a shout out to KJ Hamler. By my count, he had 5 to 6 receptions today. One of them, they blew a whistle on Drew Lock scrambling, so it was kind of a little bit of a
that whistle
maybe.
Was a little early too.
But I thought the whistle was early too. No, see, I'm glad you said that, because I was sitting next to Mace.
I didn't want to say it because everybody thinks I'm in the tank for Lock, which I'm not. But
I said the same thing to Mace. I was like, you know what? He scrambled up the middle. Yeah. I mean, the pressure got there. He moved up in the pocket. He didn't scramble.
It wasn't to the
back.
side. It was a step up in the pocket and then kind of leak out to the right. And then he had
KJ Hamler was just hanging out by the sideline, wide open, 15 yards downfield. It was a great play by Lock. I don't know why they blew the whistle, but anyways, I got 5 to 6 receptions. He's become a volume target for both quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's and he needed what is happening right now, because a lot of people have been worried about the hamstrings, but he's come out there and shown that he's more than just a one-trick pony. He's not just the straight line vertical post fly guy. There's other things that he can do, and he's doing them well. And I'd say Trinity Benson have had some pretty good camps catching the ball, putting skins on the wall every day.
Yeah, Trinity Benson's another guy. Kendall Hinton, like we mentioned, had a nice catch today. Saw a little bit of Seth Williams finally. He's been out there.
But he had a catch too.
He did. And then, like I said, it was great to see Cortland out there. And by the way, Noah Fant, I don't want to gloss over, because he continues to make plays every single day. He's been another guy that seems like he's taken his game just a little bit further.
Yeah. The tight end position looks good. We saw 83 get a little bit of work as well today. Jammed a finger, but he was still out there playing pretty well. Yeah, playing pretty well. So, like I said, I think this team has more depth than people think it does. If it can stay healthy, I think people are going to be surprised by what the Broncos do this year.
One last thing, Bobby Massey still at right tackle for today. We'll see what the rotation was. 2 on for Calvin Anderson, 2 on now for Massey. They got a day off tomorrow, so we'll end up seeing what they decide to do from there, if they want to give Cam Fleming an opportunity or if they're going to go back to Anderson, and that becomes the rotation. But anyways, very cool stuff. There you go. That's day 4 of Broncos training camp. We'll have another update for you following Monday's practice. See you then.